Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is April 7th, 2026. And tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, it's a big day because the Champions is officially back as Barcelona will face off against Atletico de Madrid in the quarterfinals at the Spotify Camp Nou. And of course, here at Barca News, we're going to cover all the details in that, or all that preview, I should say, of that incredibly important match. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel, Body Baseball. And as I mentioned during that intro, tomorrow's, of course, is a huge day as it will be the first leg of the quarterfinals of the Champions League for Barcelona against Atletico Madrid at the Spotify Camp Nou. And of course, here we have all the details, important details ahead of tomorrow's match, including an incredible statistic that hopefully will play in favor of Barcelona because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have not lost against Atletico de Madrid at the Spotify Camp Nou since February of 2006. Yes, you heard that right. The last time Barcelona lost at the Camp Nou against Atletico Madrid was 20 years ago, February 2006, where goals of Maxi Rodriguez and Fernando Torres saw Barcelona lose at the hands of Atletico Madrid 3-1 again, 20 years ago. Now, since then, Barcelona have won 18 times and drew 7 times at the Camp Nou. And the only home defeat since 2006 was last season, where Barcelona lost 2-1 against, or I should say 1-2 against Atletico Madrid at the Olympic Stadium, Luis Companys. But at the Camp Nou, Barcelona have not lost a single time since 2006. Incredible stat that hopefully will play in favor of Barcelona tomorrow, as Barcelona will look to win tomorrow against Atletico de Madrid. Now, as far as the Champions League, it's a different story because even though Barcelona have always dominated Atletico Madrid in La Liga, the Champions League is a little bit different because the last 2 times that Barcelona faced off against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, both times Barcelona lost. In 2016, Barcelona lost 3-2 with Atletico Madrid advancing. And before that, it was in 2014 where Barcelona also lost 3-2 with Atletico Madrid advancing. Hopefully, Hansi Flick will be able to turn the tide. And tomorrow, we'll see a victory against Atletico Madrid, or I should say a victory over both legs, with Barcelona advancing to the semi-final. Now, of course, the big question tomorrow is what will be the lineup that Hansi Flick will choose to face off against El Cholo Simeone? Of course, the big question will be who will play next to Pedri. As we know, Marc Bernal will be out for 10 days. He will miss this match and the weekend match against Espanyol, and maybe he'll be back in the second leg of the Champions League. Frankie de Jong is still not gonna be back. It's expected that he'll be back over this weekend against Espanyol. So right now, kind of like the 2 favorite defensive midfielders or the 2 pivots, I should say, that start against Pedri will be injured. So the question will be who's going to start right next to Pedri. Reports stating that most likely it will be Eric Garcia. But of course, well, with Hansi Flick, we never know. The other question will be who's going to start in the center forward position. Is it going to be Robert Lewandowski? Is it going to be Ferran Torres? Or are we going to see another experiment by Hansi Flick with Dani Olmo starting kind of in that false 9, as we saw over the weekend? My guess most likely is going to be Lewy, because I feel like when it comes to important matches, Hansi Flick will always opt out for Lewandowski, because despite his age and even though he has more of a secondary role this season, well, Lewy is still Lewy, right? He's still one of the greatest strikers in the entire world. Now, tomorrow, Barcelona players will have to be cautious because Gerard Martin, Lamine Yamal, Marc Casado, and Fermin Lopez are at risk of being suspended. If any of these players receive a yellow card, they will be suspended for the second leg of the quarterfinals. So they're going to have to be very careful, especially Lamine Yamal and Fermin Lopez, and Gerard Martin even, because Gerard Martin has become a starter in the center back position. Fermin, of course, is our starting attacking midfielder, and well, Lamine is Lamine. So if any of these players get a yellow, they will be suspended for the second leg. Casado, not as important because he hasn't really been getting a lot of minutes. But it's being reported that Barcelona coaches and the locker room have been working with Lamine Yamal because they expect that tomorrow Atletico Madrid players are going to be, looking to provoke him to get a reaction out of him so he can get a yellow and not play in the second leg. So they've been doing kind of like special training sessions with Lamine Yamal, special talks to, so he can keep a cool head and try to avoid that yellow card. Because again, it will mean he won't play in the second leg. And well, he's an incredibly, incredibly important player. Now, Hansi Flick did participate in that pre-match press conference alongside Joao Cancelo, and this is what Flick had to say about tomorrow's match. Atletico is a tough team. They have the right attitude, fast players, and are strong on the field. On Saturday, they rested several players and still played well. It's not easy to score 2 goals against Atletico. That's all I can say. It's always tough. The match will be very exciting. We'll try to get a good result, but we know we have to play there. We want to reach our goal. So, of course, Hansi Flick highlighting how difficult it is to play against Atletico Madrid. Like he said, they rested a lot of their important players. They had kind of like a B squad, if you may, over this weekend, and we still really struggled. We won 2-1 or 1-2, I should say. So don't expect the same thing tomorrow as far as, Atletico Madrid's lineup. Of course, tomorrow they're going to be, coming out with the full artillery. They're going to come out ready to kill. So it's not going to be an easy match, but hopefully Barcelona will get the victory. We need the victory. Not only do we need a victory, I think we should try to aim to completely, end this, during tomorrow's match, because, of course, the match against Atletico Madrid in their home stadium will be much, much more difficult. I mean, I think they were undefeated until this past weekend where we beat them in their own stadium. So hopefully tomorrow, not only can we win, but we can get a big enough result to where, we can avoid any surprises in the return match. Now, Hansi Flick did have a pretty interesting statements in regards to Lamine Yamal. Some of you might have seen it on social media, but Lamine Yamal, when he was subbed out over the weekend against Atletico Madrid, he looked very upset. Hansi Flick kind of like walked towards him to talk to him, and Lamine didn't want anything to do with it. That has caused a lot of, drama on social media. Like, oh, look at Lamine, look how he's acting. You know how it is. If Lamine farts, all of a sudden he's a headline the next day. But this is what Hansi Flick had to say about the entire controversy, saying the following. What we have to remember is that Lamine is 18 years old. He's an incredible player. Sometimes you see what he does, and it's amazing, especially in one-on-one situations. But he's only 18. Sometimes he gets upset when I sub him out. Maybe because he's trying to take on 4 or 5 defenders and shoot. He might be frustrated. He's emotional, and that's okay. Remember, and that's okay. We support him. We help him grow. We have to look out for him. I know everyone is watching him because he's fantastic, but he's only 18. We all make mistakes. We'll always protect him. We'll always protect him. He'll be the best in the future. Amazing words by Hansi Flick, who, as many players have described him, he's like a father figure to many of these players. And well, now we see why. Because here's the media, here's the fans, Madridistas, everybody trying to create all this drama. And Flick is saying, yo, he's 18 years old. He's a kid. We were all 18 at one point. We all had, we were very emotional at that age, react like super dramatically to everything. We have, very extreme reactions to everything. He's trying to remind everyone he's still 18 years old. Yeah, he might be a football player and is famous and is making millions, but he's still a kid at the end of the day. And guess what? At that age, we all make mistakes. And it's not about crucifying the guy. It's not about, making him look bad. It's about protecting him, helping him, teach him how to grow because he's 18. This was a 26, 27-year-old reacting like that. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, bro, what is wrong with you? Like, get your act together. But this is an 18-year-old. He's still learning. He's still maturing. He's still developing. So let's protect him. Let's teach him. Let's help him grow rather than look for any excuse to crucify him. So amazing, amazing attitude and amazing response by Hansi Flick, protecting his players and most importantly, protecting the young ones who need the most protection, especially against these vultures who are called, Madridistas and Madrid media in Spain. Now, Hansi Flick had also some pretty nice statements to say about Joao Cancelo. He was asked, of course, does Barcelona want to keep him? Does he want Cancelo to continue on a team for next season? And this is what the German coach had to say. We have to focus on playing. The important thing is that we stay focused from the start. We're ready for these 2 games. It's the Champions League. It's great to play in. Everyone wants to play. I don't like to talk about the future. He's playing at a high level, talking about Cancelo, of course. He played in the United States and put in a great performance on Saturday. He was completely exhausted by the end. He's a great professional with incredible technique. So Hansi Flick, of course, giving props to what Cancelo has been doing, because since he's arrived, his offensive output has been absolutely incredible. Saying, hey, we're not here to talk about the summer transfer market. We're not here to talk about the future. Right now, we're focused on this upcoming match. Flick, of course, always, keeping it on target. Now, speaking of Cancelo, he was asked also during a pre-match press conference in regards to, his future plans. Does he want to stay at Barcelona? What's going on? And this is what the Portuguese fullback had to say. Anything can happen in football. I'm going to keep working, and I know what I want for next season. I want to help Barca stay in this competition and win La Liga. That's the most important thing. My future isn't relevant right now. There are always options. I have a contract with Al Hilal, and I'm on loan at Barca, but there are always options. Football can change in an instant. At the beginning, they had doubts, but now we're not having that conversation. We'll see in the end. So Cancelo saying, I'm not thinking about the future right now. I'm focused on winning La Liga, staying in the Champions League. We'll see what happens in the future. And that's that. So Cancelo kind of leaving the door open. Is he going to stay at Barca? Does he want to go back to Al Hilal? Most likely not. Does he want to go to Benfica? Not really clear. Now, we will end with these statements because I think Cancelo had some pretty incredible words to say about Gavi. He was asked, of course, about Gavi. And this is what Joao had to say. Gavi is the heart and soul of the team. Not just on the field, but off it too. He's a really cheerful guy. He'll give you a hard time in training, and that makes us more intense. He has a huge heart. It's an honor to work with him. Beautiful words by Joao Cancelo in regards to Gavi. Of course, telling us pretty much what we already knew, that Gavi is the heart and soul of FC Barcelona, with Pedri, of course, being the brain, and Lamine Yamal being the sword. That is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be uploading another video in a few short moments, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Barça.